War is hell. Hello, and welcome back to yet another privately backed and funded review and collection of shenanigans. Today we will answer questions such as, why did the Axis powers send infantry to attack a walking war crime? Well, actually, I can answer that one right now, because it's fun. For us at least. This is Grit and Valor, a dieselpunk alternate history simulation of what World War II could have been like if the rules of war were thrown out the window and we said screw it, let's make the most destructive and violent war machines known to man. Why? Well, one, because it's cool, and two, because all our men are inside said machines, and the enemy, for some reason, is still sending guys with rifles. Also, let's send them to the UK. That way, any collateral damages will just blend in with the natural infrastructure. Now, before we go on to commit any atrocities, I have to thank Megabit Publishing for generously sponsoring this video, and for giving me early access to the game. And if this looks like something you'd enjoy, please check it out with my link below. Now, with my contractual obligations out of the way, let me show you how fun war can be. Now, this is a real-time strategy game, meaning real-time killing of Axis powers, but also the real-time damaging of your multi-million-dollar piece of military equipment. So, of course, knowing how to best position said piece of equipment is crucial. Do I need to be an expert in military planning and strategy, I hear you ask? No. You see that wall over there? Yeah, just walk on over, sit yourself down and watch as the enemy makes that wall a sponge for their bullets, no matter what the angle. Front, side, behind where you are, they will stop at nothing until that wall is gone, and then they can finally, too late, they're dead. Although sometimes there is enough of them to get through and start shooting you. But no need to worry, there are plenty more walls. Cover in this game will be the difference between you getting completely shredded or steamrolling your squad down the country as you make your way to, let's see here, yes, cocking. Yes, that is a real place. Cover isn't everything, however. There are some key factors that you need to know, and once learnt will ensure the complete destruction of anyone or anything that gets too close. First up, the damage triangle. A pretty easy concept to understand. It basically outlines what unit types are effective against others. Ballistic is effective against flame, flame against explosive, and explosive against ballistic. Given this, you should then, of course, position your units accordingly, depending on what kind of enemies are headed your way. It also means having one of each unit type on your team is optimal for damage output and defense. But this is all just common sense. Anyone with even the most rotted of brain cells could figure this out. The real tool at your disposal, the real means of both offense and defense, are your mech's abilities. More specifically, the abilities of the pilots inside the mechs, and more specifically, the jump jet ability. This act of sheer dominance, power, and complete recklessness is the ultimate lifesaver. Did you position a unit so horribly that they are now not only taking damage from all sides, but also critical damage? Come on now, do you like listening to high command say the same thing over and over like a PTSD-ridden war vet? Well, with the press of a button, you can not only shut him up, but get your mech out of harm's way, and in some situations give them the advantage of high ground. Now, you're in a later level. The Axis powers have finally started to catch on to the trend and are sending mechs of their own. These things are pretty scary when you're not in control, but of course, you have the perfect counter. The counter in question being to hurl your multi-ton chunk of metal at the other multi-ton chunk of metal, and hope for the best. Now, does the pilot inside experience some mild discomfort? Probably. But at least 90% of the time, after doing this, the big scary enemy mech is no longer a problem. And I mean, you take that deal, right? Of course you would, that's a damn good deal. Lastly, the mechs themselves. Well, first I should mention your command vehicle. While clearly not a mech, it is the most important unit you have. If it gets destroyed, then you fail the campaign. It is also one of the only things capable of repairing your mechs with its starting ability. Now, I didn't get around to unlocking all the mechs, but even with the ones I did get, I managed to complete the first campaign. After the tutorial, you start with just two, with a slot for a third mech being unlocked after you get enough currency. The two you start with are Ironclad, a well-rounded ballistics class mech, and Drakan, a more lightweight and nimble fire class. These are two great starting mechs, but from my time playing, didn't perform well into the later levels of the first campaign, even with a few upgrades. Which makes sense. Once you get a few blueprints, you can get to unlocking a variety of other, much stronger mechs. Some notable ones that I unlocked were the Steel Hawk, because, I mean, well, look at the thing. It's also pretty fast moving and with loads of damage. And Volcano. It's like if the Allied forces saw the Flammenwerfer and said, what if we did that, but with lava? As I briefly mentioned, each mech can receive permanent upgrades that will boost certain stats, so you can lean further into what each mech is already good at, or make up for what they aren't. There are currently 5 slots for upgrades, and said upgrades have rarities, with the rarer ones offering not only higher stat boosts, but with a wider range of boosts as well. These will cost you scrap, however, and get quite pricey the higher the rarity. All the upgrade slots are not unlocked right away, however. You'll need to complete challenges out in the campaigns in order to earn intelligence back at your home base. You can then use the intelligence to unlock a range of different developments, from mech upgrade slots, more cover tiles, better repairability for your command vehicle, and rerolls for the in-mission shops, just to name a few. The only currency I haven't mentioned yet is Valor. This is used to upgrade the abilities of your mech pilots. Now, I haven't gotten all the pilots, as besides the ones you start with, they're only unlocked after completing entire campaigns. But my current crew consists of Archie, with the godlike jump jet ability, Jan, who is capable of placing minefields, Amelia, who can repair the mech she pilots, and Billy, who can call in an airstrike. All the pilots' abilities have limited uses, and should be used wisely, considering they are all very strong. Now, the layout of the campaigns are quite interesting. The devs seem to have taken inspiration from Slay the Spire, with a choose-your-own-path kind of deal, allowing you to pick the fights you want to take, and in some cases, gamble with a random event. And of course, like Spire, there are normal difficulty fights, and ones with an increased threat, but with a better overall reward. What fights you pick don't matter too much if you have a strong squad of all damage types, but if you wanted, you could lean more into fire damage, for example, and then go and pick fights with exclusively explosive class enemies, or do the same with any of the other damage classes, and only target vulnerable enemies. At the end of each campaign, there is a final boss, and for the British Isles, you'll be up against General Hamsworth, a beefy looking guy piloting an even beefier mech. Now, it doesn't move all that fast, but can mess up your mechs pretty quick if left in clear line of sight. So, don't do that. It also switches between each damage type as you knock down its health, making the switches after a period where it stops and shields itself. It did take me a few tries to get this boss down, but with a good squad and a few upgrades, you should be able to make short work of him. The second campaign, Scandinavia, is as far as I got, and was a surprising step up in terms of difficulty. Now, of course, you're not going to have to go and grind the first campaign for resources. After I completed the British Isles, I managed to get about halfway through before needing to get upgrades and try out some new mechs. There does seem to be a theme of the game introducing new enemies and hazards with each country's mission. In Scandinavia, I got on the receiving end of multiple airstrikes, and there was an abundance of sentries capable of inflicting all damage types. All in all, Grit and Valor is a very well put together mix of real-time strategy, roguelite elements, and the unbridled fun of a simulated warzone. I enjoyed the style of the game quite a lot. The diesel punk aesthetic is one I haven't seen in a lot of games. The only game I played with a somewhat similar style was Shoot Many Robots, which was a welcome hit of nostalgia. The game also ran incredibly well. I didn't run into anything game-breaking, and everything worked as intended. There was like 1, maybe 2 instances of the enemy AI getting stuck, but I mean, that only proved beneficial to me. And besides that, the devs sure as hell did a good job. With that, I hope you enjoyed, and if you stuck around this far, you might as well give the game a try. As always, more content to come, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.